There exist several chests throughout the game that, if left alone during their initial access to an area, you can return at later points in the game. When accessing these chests at later points, you will actually receive better loot than if you were to acquire them during your first visit. Some of these chests can be found in the Cave of Figaro, in the town of South Figaro, and the Magitech factory. This same technique was also used in Chrono Trigger, which, if you haven't seen my video on the series, be sure to check it out after this. There exist 4 slots in Gao's Rage Command list that are unable to be acquired. Siegfried is supposed to be a stronger version of the enemy fought in the Colosseum. Typhon, otherwise known as Chupin, is Ultra's friend from the Colosseum. Since Colosseum enemies are unable to be found on the Veldt, it's impossible to acquire either of these two. The Death Warden, otherwise known as Aloe Ver, is the skeleton guarding the Tiger Fangs in the Veldt Cave. The ability is said to make Gao undead, weak to fire, and with the special move of Quake. It's unable to be acquired due to a programming mistake, but was fixed in the Game Boy Advance port. The Tonberries, otherwise known as Pugs, would use a powerful physical attack called Knife, but due to the way the command was set up, the final command on the list is unable to be used. If you wait until the last 5 seconds before jumping to the airship from the floating continent, you can give Shadow enough time to catch up and join you for the final escape. This is entirely optional, however, and Shadow can be left behind, removing the ability to play him in that save file. In the original game, if you walk in a particular manner of the top section of the Chocobo sprite, your character will appear through the Chocobo. This bug was only featured in the early versions of the game, utilizing the vulnerability to magic attacks that enemies acquire when invisible. Players could cast Vanish on enemies followed by the Death spell to instantly one-shot them. By doing this, you override the enemy's death immunity, allowing you to kill even bosses, although this would sometimes cause glitches within the game. This happens when you use the Mug command with Lock. Certain items in the game have adverse consequences when using the command. For instance, Ultima Weapon will only deal normal damage, cannot ignore defense, and counts as a short sword. Another example would be the hit rating from dice not functioning as it normally should, making it near impossible to connect with an enemy. There are other issues with the capture glitch as well, like the Relic Master's Scroll or any attempt to steal multiple items within a single turn. After having Locke use capture while wearing the Master's Scroll, the first item will always be stolen, but any items that would be stolen after the first time will not be added to your inventory unless the monster is alone. This can be particularly devastating in certain fights like the Ultima Weapon, where you can completely miss out on your chance to steal a ribbon.